Hello, everyone. This interview is gonna be also again in English. I'm sorry about that. So you can skip it if you wanna. And it's 22nd of April, and as you know, I try to give dates in my videos because we do not know when we will be allowed to go out. A couple of years ago, when I was in my third year of studies at my high school, I met my first guy from the Balkans. He was from Slovenia. He was called, I do not know how he was called. However, we were staying near the National Theatre in Prague, and we got drunk. And he offered me Borovničke. That was the first Slovene man I met. My second Slovene man is here with us today.
No Borovničke, I'm sorry.
His name is Miha Mazzini, and I met him last year during the TEDx conference.
Yes.
Hello, Miha. Nice to have you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
First question I ask my guest is that imagine you met some stranger in a street, and the stranger asks you, "What do you do for a living?" What do you do?
I rob people in the streets. That's a good answer, huh?
Yeah, but that's
a good answer for introverts because it stops the conversation now.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Exactly.
So this is your part-time job. What do you do for full time?
Actually, that's a nice definition. I'm not robbing people in the street, but I'm robbing people of their attention in the beds, on the couches, in the chairs. I'm a writer.
And how one becomes a writer? How did you become a writer?
Yeah, I mean, that's the sad part of the story. You just have to write something, you know. No, but this will sound stupid, but years ago I was mentoring young screenwriters and so on. So people came with these brilliant ideas, brilliant. And then we talked about it, gave it a little bit of structure and this and that. And then I said, now go for 6 months and write every day. And most of them couldn't do it, actually. So then I advised them, go into marketing or commercials, you know, there you have a project that you can do in a week or maybe even a day. But if you want to be a writer, you have to sit down and write.
You know,
okay. If you have some talent, it's nice, you know, too. Yeah.
I'm not a writer myself. I've wrote only 2 theses, and you know, I do not like to write that much because I know I'm not good at it. However, probably you cannot become a good writer without writing, right?
I mean, basically, I think in the beginning, actually, you have to have some talent, actually. And then you have to read a lot because reading is already a part of the training, you know, for a writer. And then you have to do it. I mean, you have to sit down and do it, you know. And this is actually the hardest part of this work, you know, because getting the idea and structuring an idea and developing the character is great fun for me, great fun. But then, you know, and even the first draft is okay. It's some fun in there. But then editing, there's no fun in editing, you know.
Cutting out the unnecessary words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No
That was the main work of Hemingway, wasn't it? that he wanted to cut out all the unnecessary words, and probably I think it was him.
And that Raymond Carver, the short he wrote, that was even more interesting case is probably Carver, because his editor cut out 2/3, you know, of everything. And writer, he was so unhappy about it that years and years, until the end of his life, he tried to publish the original stories. And I think his wife later, after his death, did. And nobody liked them, actually. Everybody loved this, you know, stripped down everything. Good.
So you write for a living? Is it? No.
Nobody in Slovenia can do that. Nobody in Slovenia. I mean, okay, if you if you like to have this, like, say, ascetic living, you know, like breakfast on Monday, lunch on Wednesday, and dinner on Friday. Then
perfect week.
Yeah, perfect week. Then probably you can live off writing, even in Slovenia. But actually, I don't think, maybe a few people, but they are not living very well. So everybody in Slovenia, because it's a small country, we have, I mean, another job, you know, to make a living. So actually, I'm making a living as that's complicated. Usability expert. This is called usability expert.
Can you translate it to more common way English?
I mean, for instance, when you come to web page, the web page must be somehow presented that you don't even notice, you know, how you are using it. Because when you start noticing, something has gone wrong, you know. Okay, the usability expert is the person who did this for web pages, or, I mean, who did this, okay, I'm doing it with web pages and mobile applications and so on. But actually, even if you go to supermarket, you know, for instance, you go to supermarket, and when you enter it, for the first few meters, there's nothing. Because there must be nothing, because your eyes have to adjust. You know? If you put there immediately something, you won't see it anyway. And that's what usability expert will tell you. You have to adjust. Nothing there, you know, and so on.
Actually, I read a book about 3 years ago about user-centered design.
Yeah.
So this is somehow something like that. But probably, I mean, as you mentioned, the supermarket, that's on much larger scale.
Yeah, for instance, take a look. I mean, in Tokyo, I mean, there are millions of people going into subways and trains, you know. And it's beautifully done. As usability, it's beautifully done, because when you are going towards the station, and for instance, you are catching the train number 8 or whatever, and already on the floor, on the ground, there is number 8 and the line, and you just step on the line and you walk. And that's usability, you know. You're not asking around where, you know. And the nearer you are going in Tokyo, the nearer are you going to the trains, the bluer the light. The light is getting bluer, because the least suicides are at blue light, you know. That's usability too. It's called nudge, actually. It's not like you're forbidding something, but just a little bit, you know, these biological, psychological things.
I see that. That's much psychology in that, really.
That's exactly psychology and biology. And I mean, but what about writing, actually? Psychology and biology.
Yeah, but you know, because everything that's dealing with human beings is basically biology and psychology.
Agree. Yeah. I mean, I started as a computer programmer, actually.
That's what I wanted to ask you. What's your formal education, let's say?
No, I mean, my this formal education is all over, and I like it that way, actually, and with long pauses in between, you know. I started with, I think, this system analysis. This is actually very business, solving business problems and so on, you know, or organizational problems.
Uh-huh.
But I was making living as a computer programmer, and then after 10 years or even more, I studied, I did my master's in England in screenwriting for film and television. And then 10 years or more, I made my PhD in anthropology. So, no, it's okay. I like it.
That's quite a diverse.
Yeah, I like it actually.
Are you able to, you know, when you are dealing with that, with some kind of issue, I don't know, let's say at the, you know, when you are dealing with the crowds, etc., or with the web page, are you able to have some kind, or is the insight into another field in your writing business or whatever, is it beneficial for you that you got, you know, that you can look at those kind of issues in different ways from different perspectives?
I mean, basically, it's all is about this. Actually, it all comes to this theory of mind, meaning that you have, even in writing, in novel, you create a character and you go inside his mind, you know, and the writer is not the same as the character he or she has created, of course, you know. But with this usability, you are actually trying to create the mind of this user. The user comes here, and now he's totally lost. He will step through the door. He will look left, right. Okay, put him number 8 train here on the floor so he can start walking and so on, you know. But basically, that's how it goes. That's how you create. I mean, really, this perfect web page that the user is, I don't know, buying something or repairing something or searching for something, but not being distracted, actually, you know, just flowing. It's this, you get him or her, and then it's a flow. Because if they notice that something has stuck, you failed. As a usability expert, you failed. I mean, it's so easy. But that's very, basically for human beings, that's a bad situation. That's a Cyrano de Bergerac situation. You know, you're writing perfect stuff, but nobody has to notice. You know, poor Cyrano de Bergerac was writing for somebody else. But that's actually what we screenwriters are doing. You know, we are creating these perfect sentences, so the actors are saying them. You know. And everybody says, wow, Tom Cruise is so funny and so clever. But somebody wrote it for him.
Because nobody knows the name of the screenwriter.
Nobody knows. No, nobody knows the names of usability expert too, or screenwriters or whatever. We are the people from the country. Nobody knows the name of the bass players in the band, except Paul McCartney, okay?
Yeah, I'm playing bass. I know that.
I play bass too, so I know.
And nobody pays attention to bass solo.
Nobody. But everybody goes out smoking during the drummer solo. Yes.
But you know, when there's no bass in the band, that just sounds bad and weird.
Bad.
And you cannot dance to it.
No, I agree, and it's that's why, I mean, these are some jobs, or I mean, something that's very important, but it's not in the frontline jobs.
Mm-hmm. You know, but there is some that's somehow different when you are dealing with the people and dealing with, you know, you mentioned the trains and how they got to that. You do not want them to struggle. However, when you are writing, you basically want them to struggle to some extent because you want to have your characters believable and you want to have the story, and the story needs to have some kind of struggle, doesn't it?
Of course. I mean, if we are speaking about this drama, you know, in the story, of course, we have to create the worst possible thing for them, you know. You know.
But you don't want to have that in a trains or in a way of trains.
Exactly.
This is the
but
difference.
Let me tell you, exactly this memory of mentoring the young writers. People are even in stories that are imaginary. People are afraid to create this real drama, you know. And then you have, I mean, you don't have a very good story if there is some kind of this conflict inside, some drama. Yes, I agree. So as a usability expert, I'm saving the suffering for my writing, you know.
Yeah. Why are people afraid of making the drama believable or being the drama too much dramatic when writing?
We don't discern totally between our imaginary words and the real world, you know. You can go to the bookstore after they open and you can find dozens, hundreds of books like The Power of Your Thought, you know. You just wish to be happy and you will be happy and so on. You wish your boss will change and he will change and so on, you know. But in a way it's the same as in the writing, you know. People are really afraid, a lot of them really, to even invent something really strong, you know, because they're afraid to come true, actually. And as a writer, as a professional writer, I mean, somebody who writes a lot, you have to conquer this quickly, you know, and go through it. Because your heroes in the stories deserve the worst.
Okay. Now, speaking about the current situation, I do not know really, and probably our viewers wanted to know as well. What's the situation like in Slovenia? Is there the quarantine, or I do not want any numbers because they are not precise, as we all know. Anyhow, so that's really no use. But how does the living go in Slovenia these days?
I think we passed now 6 weeks of this lockdown, quarantine, whatever. Yes, 6 weeks. And I mean, on Monday, so a few days ago, they opened some stores or something. And they opened McDonald's, actually. And it was, people were waiting in hours and hours, you know, to get into McDonald's. After 6 weeks of nothing, at least something has opened, you know. And that was this cry for normalcy, you know, like, let's go out in the evening, let's go to McDonald's. My Facebook was full of these videos, but I mean, I understand, it's funny, it's nice, actually, of course. I mean, the situation in number is not bad. I think the less than 100 people died so far. And the only part that was bad was that most of those people that were in these retirement homes, you know.
That's the same in Czech Republic, yeah.
Yeah, Slovenians returned from skiing, and some of them were working in retirement homes, you know, brought virus, and now the retirement home is a big problem, you know. That's a really awful situation. Around, I don't know. Okay, I know a friend of mine survived, barely, but survived. But I think that people, okay, even these government measures, but people went into this social distancing very, very carefully. You know, it was suddenly, I mean, we went for our walks, but we were really keeping apart, you know. Now, I mean, it's slowly, I think everybody has enough after 6 weeks, you know, they are, and the sun is shining and it's very hot and so on. So, no big, you know, drama has happened. So people are slowly relaxing, which probably means there will be a second wave, you know, and another push down and so on. But yes.
How does this situation affect your life personally? And let's say, first of all, your life as a working person, let's say.
I mean, I'm employed by Slovenian Telecom, and we are doing home office. I mean, it's home office because that means actually a lot of these video calls and video conferences and emails. Okay, they're important. But Slovenia hasn't stopped these low-paid industry workers mostly. I mean, the factories were running, and these building sites were running too. I mean, no, here near me, they're building new IKEA, and they're building it all the time, you know, without masks or whatever. I mean, that's like they're working. So if you allow paid immigrant worker, virus can't touch you, obviously. That's what we learned. So we are in home office. The schools and kindergartens are closed. I mean, that's a problem, I think. And then the government has said that maybe they release something after May holidays, you know, 1st of May holidays, which are traditionally from the socialism kind of long and big holidays in Slovenia, really.
Okay, so that was your life as a working man. What about your personal life? How does this lockdown affect your daily routine or whatever? Does it affect to some extent?
But I mean, as a writer, I used to take 1 month off every year and go somewhere and like for a writer's residence and for a month inside and writing. So first month, basically, I felt like in writer's residence, not seeing anybody, you know, writing in the afternoon and evening, and you know, okay. And then I got kind of tired of this, you know, and I have a crisis for a week. You know? But now I'm back in this like new normal, you know. So in the morning, I work for Telecom home office, and then I go for a long walk or run, but mostly walk, and then I write. So it's okay. So far I haven't had time to watch even some TV film or series. You know, this Netflix and HBO with me somehow doesn't fly. You know, because I have a lot to do. But I'm missing this human contact. I have enough of this digital. I'm really missing this, you know. And this, because here is Mediterranean, actually. So, you know, in the summer, we are sitting outside, we are talking. You know, it's sunny. We should be sitting outside and talking. We are not. Okay. But this digital communication, it's digital, you know, so it's not the real thing. Yes.
How do you relax?
I think most of us, we got when this quarantine started, you know, a lot of people were telling, yeah, somehow I feel a pressure here or here and there. And there was this pressure, you know, and a lot of people didn't even, you know, connect it with this, you know, situation outside, you know, oh, like some private pain, or here and here, and it's very funny how it really pressed on us, But for this kind of anxiety, let's call it anxiety, that's deeply subconscious. I think the best way is actually really to go running, to sweat, actually, to sweat and breathe deeply, really physical activities, because it's this flight, fight, response, and suddenly your body is anxious, so you're fighting, You don't have to fight, but I was using a lot of weights, I did this weight, so really, I was really sweating and breathing. So part of my brain was thinking, he's fighting, he's winning, good.
And you mentioned series and Netflix and HBO or whatever. Is there something you are watching?
No.
Can you recommend something?
I don't. Yeah, but what I watched, I mean, there's. Okay, I watched Babylon Berlin, actually. Yes, that was my God, only series that I really watched all 2 or 3 seasons and whatever. The only one is like, and it's German actually, but good one. I like it.
And generally speaking, is it possible for a writer to watch series and not get too professional and start to criticize it in his mind?
I mean, we just quit easily, basically, because at my age and with my experience, and this will really sound obnoxious even, but when I get some text and I start reading it, after a few pages, I know exactly what's this writer capable of, what can I expect, how it is flowing, the melody, everything, And if I realize, that's nothing for me, I just stop, So actually, it's hard to find something, that I really enjoy. But when I do enjoy something, I forget that I'm professional. I'm just a small kid enjoying it immensely.
And do you read books? Have you read something recently?
Yeah, actually, I'm reading non-fiction mostly, but I took out some when I realized that this quarantine will be long. I took out some Charles Dickens, Oliver Twist or something, some this big fat classic, I never had time to read, Okay, so far I read 2 chapters. They're great. Dickens,
were they great enough for you?
Yeah, he knew how to write. I'm totally satisfied. I will continue.
Okay. As a last question, I always ask: is there any kind of advice which you can get to our viewers, how to cope with the situation, how to survive it, how not to get mad?
I mean, it's basically simple because when I was freelancer, so I was staying at home, so I was working from home, and I had private life from home too, and it was in the way like this. And then you catch yourself, working in pajamas, your underwear even, and so on. But basically, and that leads to your ruin. You don't do this. What I learned is, even if you are in a small apartment, schedule yourself, schedule. I'm doing this from this to this time, schedule. And even in a small apartment, you change the position, like in one corner, I'm doing my job for telecom in one corner. Second corner is for writing,
I
so
see.
actually you have to keep your structure, because structure time-wise from this to this, from this to this, or location-wise, because our brain is really strange, and this is really important, and then maybe you have the 4th corner of one room for relaxation. Don't mix everything on one place in one time. No, from now you work this, and then you go to the next corner and you do something there. You know, really, because that's the way actually to do it. Yeah, but and keep yourself occupied. Actually, don't. Okay, so I'm doing this and this and this and this.
Another person whom I had the interview with, a journalist, he told me that somehow someone told him, I do not know the name, that you should hold your structure or daily routine, and the structure will hold you.
Yeah, that's it. Nicely said. Exactly. Yes, because you know you have to move from this and this. You have the full schedule. You are changing location. Brain thinks it's in a different place. You know, and that's the way to do it.
And it is also adventurous.
Yeah, because you move from one corner to other corner, and then
you don't know what's gonna happen next.
To the toilet, for instance, you move to the toilet. I mean, really.
But probably you should be there probably more times a day.
Yeah, I know.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Miha, it was nice to have you here, and it was nice talking to you. And I really want to meet you once again sometime in the Czech Republic or me in Slovenia. We never know. Yeah. Thanks so much. And at the end, I also say, see you without a face mask.
Yes. Ciao. Okay.
Thanks.
Ciao,
bye-bye.
Ciao.